Welcome back to another Thomas and Friends mini review. And for today's video, we'll be discussing another episode I regret not mentioning from a previous installment. And that would be Calm Down, Caitlin. As the title suggests, this episode is about Caitlin, who is one of the new characters from King of the Railway. Now, before we begin, I want to express my honest thoughts on Caitlin. She's so-so. Sure, her design is very unique and American, but her personality is kind of annoying when it comes to this episode. I mean, she's not the worst Thomas character, but she's definitely not as smart as Stephen or the Earl when it comes to new characters that appeared in King of the Railway. And at first, I didn't like the fact that both she and Connor have Irish accents, but they're starting to grow on me because their accents reflect the early Irish immigrants who worked on both the New York Central and the Baltimore and Ohio railroads back in the early days of American railroading, which may explain why the two engines have Irish American accents. Anyway, back to the review. It starts off one evening when Caitlin was about to take her last train from Ulster Castle when her tenor brakes were locked on, which means she had to wait until nightfall for her brakes to be fixed. Later, when she reached Vickerstown Bridge, Sir Topham Hatt was there and told her that it is closed for maintenance and won't open again until morning, much to the dismay of the passengers. But Caitlin wasn't, because she loved the idea of staying on Sodor as if it was a sleepover. And so far, we're off to a pretty great start. No, I'm serious. I think this was a great way to start an Andrew Brenner episode because it's a realistic way of being patient and how long it takes to fix a problem rather than just fixing a big issue in an instance like in the Sharon Miller era. But as soon as she arrives at Tidmouth things are going a little bit downhill from there. Caitlin asked the steam team if she could stay in Percy's berth, but then she suddenly decides to beg Percy if she could take the mail train tonight. Percy agrees to this, but warns her to keep calm and quiet as she delivers the mail. But because Caitlin is so stupid and ignorant, she didn't listen to Percy's advice, and started whistling loud and clear throughout the railway, waking everybody up. When that job was finished, Henry offers Caitlin to take the flying kipper. This gets Caitlin even more excited and says yes to the job. Like Percy, Henry also warns Caitlin to be calm and quiet, but once again, the big streamlined engine didn't listen and did the same thing over and over again. And not only did she wake up a bunch of people earlier with the mail train, but also the poor zoo animals at the Soar Animal Park. How rude. When morning came, she was finally getting really tired, and as she returned to Tidmouth to rest, Sir Topham Hatt arrives crossly and wrongfully blames Percy and Henry for being noisy last night. This gets Caitlin to tell the whole truth that she was the one causing all the ruckus due to her forgetfulness about being quiet and that she was so excited about staying up all night on Sodor, much to Sir Topham Hatt's disappointment. But thankfully, Sir Topham Hatt gladly tells Caitlin that Vickerstown Bridge is repaired so that she will be ready to go back to the mainland. But when she got there, because she stayed up all night, she fell asleep right in the middle of the main line, which is quite dangerous if you ask me. But luckily, Connor wakes her up and soon learns that staying up all night and being noisy wasn't a good idea after all. Now, if you like this episode, that's totally fine, but from where I stand, this is not really a good episode, mainly because of Caitlin's ignorance and annoyance to the other characters. Not to mention the moral execution for this episode. Sure, it's a good message about learning to keep quiet and consider others, but the way that it was executed just disappoints me. I think it would have been a more satisfying ending if there was a follow-up episode where Caitlin makes up for her mistakes. I don't know, it's just a thought. And the reason I didn't include it in my top 5 worst Andrew Brenner episodes is because it's got a really great beginning, as I've stated before. In other words, Calm Down Caitlin would have been number 6, if it were a top 6 video, that is. So in conclusion, I give Calm Down Caitlin a 4.5 out of 10 stars. If you want to see a TV episode with this moral done right, then I suggest you watch the Theater Tugboat episode, Foduck and the Shy Ship, because not only that it handles the message better than Calm Down Caitlin, but Foduck at least learns from his past mistakes by making sure everyone was tucked quietly away and that he didn't make any noise at all just so he can find and take the Shy Ship Kokoma to her dock. Man, I love Theater Tugboat. I'll eventually make a top 10 favorite childhood shows video, but right now, I've got other things to do for this month. Anyways, let me know what you think about Calm Down Caitlin. Do you agree with me, or have you seen worse episodes? Because I like to know. There will be one more mini review this month, and it's going to be on Not Now Charlie, and why I think it's an overall average episode. Be sure to look out for that. This is Trevor Davis, signing off.